Okay, today we're going to learn about the halacha of Pas Shachris. We had a shiur in Yaakov yesterday about this, the many benefits of Pas Shachris. It's brought in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuf Nun Hey. Koydem she'el lebes hamedrash, after your davening, it's a to go to learn from Bes HaKnesset to Bes HaMedrash, Yelchu Michael al Choyel, but before that you're going to Bes HaMedrash, Yuchal le'echol pas shachris. The Lashon of here, it's not strong, chayov, or you have to, tzorich, yuchal. If you want, before you go to learn, even though there's Indian to learn right after davening, you could to eat pas shachris. Basically, we could say this is the breakfast, bread of the morning. Imur rogil boy, if you're used to it. V'toiv shi'argil boy. If you're not, it tells you v'toiv, it's a good idea, shi'argil boy. Now, why it's toiv shi'argil boy? That, like I said, we learned already yesterday, the Gemara, but Metzia, it's also brought in the Gemara Baba Kama. I'm going to just briefly, I'm not going to go to the whole shiur of yesterday. So it says over here, the Gemara says, Rabbi Lozer Omer Zomoro. We said the Pasuk says, that the Heisir Hashem Mimcha Kol Choyli, it's Mora, the gallbladder, and he says V'lo Nikra Shmo Tanya Nam Yochil Machalo Zomoro V'lo Nikra Shmo Machalo She Mechalek Kol Gufa Shalodim. If the gallbladder is not working right, it could make the whole body sick. Dover Acher Machalo, why it's called Machalo Sheshmoinim Ushloisha Chaloim Tluyim B'Mora. 83 sicknesses. It all depends on your gallbladder. It says v'kulon pas shachris b'melach v'kitan shalmayim b'matalta. All the sicknesses that come from the gallbladder, 83 sicknesses. If you have pas shachris and then a jar of water, pas shachris with salt, a little bit salt and a jar of water, you can get rid of all the machlas. So it's important. That's why the Shulchan Aruch recommends before you go to Bes Medrash, before you get too hungry, have some pas shachris. Okay. Now the question is like this: when you're gonna have the pas shachris? When? And how much you should have it? And yeah, or maybe just like the Gemara says, just bread and water. That's all. I mean, or there's also anything else you could be yoytze with pas shachris. So the legabe when, there is a Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos daf Yud Omud Aleph. The Gemara says over there, Ton Rabbanon, Shor Rishoina Ma'achal Ludim. If somebody have his breakfast, Shor Rishoina, I mean the first hour of the morning. If the morning starts 6 o'clock, or it could move. It Shor Zmaniyos. Let's say the morning is 6 o'clock. Shor Rishoina Ma'achal Ludim. Rashi brings. Ludim, it's what we call the nation of cannibals. They eat people. Meaning some people are so hungry, like they would eat a person. So they eat the first hour of the day. That's where the machal of people shows they're very hungry. Shniya, somebody eats. Let's say according to this, if the morning starts 6 o'clock, if you eat it at 7 o'clock, machal listim. The robbers, the whole night they went on a robbery and they go just to rest a little bit. Then they're going to eat breast. They eat it at 7 o'clock. Shor Shlishis, 8 o'clock. Machal Yorshim, people that they inherited money, they don't have to work hard, so they're not in a rush to go to work. They get up late, so they could eat the breakfast 8 o'clock. Revis, the 9 o'clock, Machal Poyalim, because they work before breakfast. They work. They take a recess. They eat 9 o'clock. Chamishis, 10 o'clock, Michael Kol Odom, average person. The Gemara says, the Gemara stops before going further. Anyway, Rapapa Reviz Mansuda Lakol. You're saying it's 5th hour. Rapapa said that it was the 4th hour. Ella Reviz Machal Kol Odom. The Gemara changes. Reviz is Machal Kol Odom. Chamishis Michael Poyalim. Shishis Machal Talmidei Chachamim. Shishis, the 6th hour. It's a machlok of 6 hours. If it's on all of them will be the same machlok is then whether it's the beginning of the hour or the end. If it's the beginning of the hour, that would be after 11 o'clock. Machal Talmidei Chachamim Shishis. The end of that would be the end of 11 o'clock, beginning of 12. That's Chatzois already. It's all obviously shows minds could change. So anyway, from here we could see that those two Gemaras we could say It says over here, Pas Shacharis, it's what it means, what the Gemara talks, that's the Zman of Pas Shachar, depends for who. For Talmud Chachamim, it's like 11 or 12 o'clock, depends on which opinion. And then the Gemara says, before I go further, before I can explain it, that's not what the Gemara means really, but the Gemara says over there, if you eat after that time, whoever it is, even a Talmid Chachamim, it's like throwing a rock into the barrel of wine. Why? Because if you want the wine to fill up, you have to put more wine into the barrel. If you have it's getting emptier and emptier, you want it to look full, you throw a rock over there and it picks up the level of wine. It doesn't mean you have more wine over there. It's just a piece of rock sitting over there. That's not the wine. So if you want the Michael, your meal to be beneficial to your health, you have to eat something before that time. After that time, it's not benefit. It's a machloikas. If it's just not beneficial, it's even hurting your health. And then Abaye says, Amar Abaye, when we say it's not healthy or it's bad for your health to eat it after that time, your breakfast, La Amoran Ela de La Toy Mida Betzafra. If you didn't have nothing in the morning, Aval Toy Mida Betzafra. Yet anything, any te'ima, could be a cup of coffee, could be a little piece of cake. You could eat even after that. It's called your yoitza without the right zman to eat, because you open up your stomach already. Even what you eat later would be helpful. So again, l'choira, the Gemara and Bava and the Gemara and Shabbos, l'choira looks like they're talking about the same thing. Pas Shachar is the time of Pas Shachar. I didn't speak about what to eat there. Pas Shachar is meaning you're eating it in those hours. Depends if you're a worker, depends if you're a Talmud Chacham, but it's from the morning all the way till midday or an hour before midday. Okay? That's what it is. However, it's not so poshut. Why? Because this is in Kuf Nun, this halacha of Kuf Nun Hey. In Shulchan Aruch, in halacha Kuf Nun Zayin, 2 chapters later, it says in Shulchan Aruch, in Kuf Nun Zayin, it says over there, Kshiagia Shor Revis Yikva Suudosai, that talks about an average person. That's how we fix the Gemara according to Abaye. It comes for 4th hour. You should eat your meal. V'imu Talmid Chochem v'oisek b'limuda yamtin atro shishis. V'lo ya'acher yoser dava kazerek even lechemes. Im lo toy mida b'tzafra. So he brings this Gemara exactly Masechet Shabbos. So if it's the same thing, why they have it in 2 different chapters? Why they have this into? He could have bring the same thing when we said over there yochal me'at. He could say the time. Mashma, it's 2 different halachas. It's mashma, it's 2 different halachas, and we're going to see taka. It is 2 different halachas. Why? Because the Gemara and Sukkah. That's what the Bes Yosef and the Kuf Nun Hey points out. It says like this: Mikol Mokim. Kodem shlo Bes Hamedrash yochal lechol pas shacharis. That's the pas shacharis of Gemara B'Mutzia. Kedam, it's not the Su'udah that talk in Maseches Shabbos or in Siman Kuf Nun Zayin. Kedamim ba'alma kedatoim bar berav v'ayil lekalo. At Maseches Sukkah, Daf Chofvov in Maseches Sukkah, it says over there that they argue over there. Here, I'm going to read this mamash few lines. V'kama achilas aroi. We're talking about what you could eat out of the sukkah, achilas aroi. If it's not a permanent meal, just snacking. Amar Rav Yosef tarte or last beer, up to 2-3 eggs, which is approximately 4 to 6 ounces. Berech, that's called achilas aroi. That's what says Rav Yosef. Amar Abaye v'ozimnin sagin sagel elinish behochi. You can't call the Sudas Arai eating 4 to 6 ounces. Many people, that's their meal. So you cannot say Sudas Arai, it's just snacking. Elo Marabaye, what's called Sudas Arai? Kedetoim bar berav v'ayil lekala. Like a Talmud Chacham that's sitting in yeshiva, bar berav, before he goes to the yeshiva, he snacks something, and then he comes to the shiur. So, that's what Rashi brings over there. Baboiker ksholchen lebes hamedrash v'doyek shema yimshechu hashmuas v'toim olav piv v'shoyse. Before he goes to the shul, it might take long. He's going to get hungry. He takes quickly something, says maloi piv, and then he drinks something. So that's that. So that's what the Tosfos also bring. The toim tzuim rabon v'ozil lekalosh zeh maloi piv dahainu kabeya. That's kabeya. V'shiur zedavke bepas the perel loboy sukkah. Okay, so from here we see that that's what Mr. Yosef says. The Gemara in Bava Metzia talks about pas shachar, not talking about a suuda yet, full meal. No, the Gemara talks about snacking. Now, snacking, you take something kabeya, 2 ounces, and you have something to drink. Then when you finish, that was just snacking. Then when you go home after the shiur, and you should make sure it's become before before midday hour, before, depends on which opinion, and then you have a full suda. So pas shachar, that's not a full suda. Just when I bring also from the Kaf HaChaim mashma the same thing. It's poshut when he brought in Kufnun Hey, he says Mashomru Kitan Mayim. First of all, he says Nir Shiyech Chamin. It's good to have hot, meaning that's what he recommends, to have either hot water, coffee, tea, not cold water. Mayim means hot, and according to many Oriental doctors, the Bechal recommend the whole day to drink hot, not cold, because they say they compare the stomach to an oven that's always working. You don't want to cool off that oven. If you want your digestion to work good, so you have to keep the oven to be warm with the hot water that should do the job right. So it says what it means over here, chamin. Which is a cake, muzoinas, im kave or tei. That's what he brings. So according to this, a pas shachar it's not your meal. But also there is a lot of debates in different cultures and countries. What is the biggest meal should be? So some people say breakfast, some people say the other way around. So it tells you over here the breakfast, breaking the fast, which is the te'ima. The te'ima, pas shacharis, that could be a piece of cake, a kabeya, and a coffee, and that's your breakfast. It's a small meal. Later on, you're going to go eat your suda. Now, later on also, when you go basically what we call today lunch, yeah? So what should be bigger, lunch or the supper, yeah? It's interesting, he brings like this. He brings from the, Arizal that the biggest meal taka should be at night. At night doesn't mean late, because if the Suuda of here, we see Gemara and Chulin, how do we learn? You need to wait 6 hours after Milchi, because it's between Suudas. If the Suuda is midday, 6 hours later, so it's 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, that should be the supper time. Then you have the big meal then. Now, he brings over here, also the Kaf HaChaim brings that few things you have to be careful. That makes your body weak. If you eat from standing or drink from standing. It's an inyan when you eat, when you drink, you should be sitting. It's also the inyan of how the food beneficial to you. If you're too stressful, you wanna go, it's not good for you. They even say today that the higher cholesterol is not only depends on what you eat, it's how you eat it. The more stressful you are, the more it has a negative effect on you. So it says over here, and it could make you the body weaker when eating from standing or drinking from standing. You have to be relaxed when you eat. Sit down. And he says, because of the circle is pas shacharis. So to be careful to have it. According to this, pas shacharis, again, it's not your meal. It's just snacking. That's the breakfast. Just snacking. A little bit mazoina, so even a little piece of bread. That's the pas shacharis, and that's all the benefits. What the Gemara brings in Maseches Bava Metzia. The Gemara Shabbos talks about the time of the meal. It's the Su'uda already. It's not just snacking. It's two different things. Yeah? And Adarabah, before start learning, mashma, you have a little bit of snacking. Like the Gemara and Sukkah said, before you go to Bes Medrash, you have something. Then you couldn't be issue with that. Then you're going to have your big meal. Now, Lagabe, what you should eat over there? We didn't cover this now yet. So it's interesting that the Bach brings the Mordechai, what should you eat, when should you eat? The Bach says like this. Yeah. Aval inen shaila roy. No, I'm sorry. Right here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Kosa b'Mordechai ha'orach. She brings the Mordechai. That's Mordechai is very much in debate over here. The Mordechai says, what time and how much he should eat. He brings the Mordechai, he says like this. We don't have that minhag. The Mordechai said to eat pas shachris. Kol iker ve'en raboisenu regilin bo mipnei sheshamanu shepas shachris originally what the Gemara spoke about pas shachris eno boile betvua rechoikim min hayeshuv. If you want to know the ideas of organic those days that started a long time ago, it says what kind of bread they ate, what's organic meaning, yeah. Bo betvua rechoikim min hayeshuv. It came far away from people, from population. Those days, everybody had at home roosters, and if the grain when it grew, it heard the call, it's already disturbed the growing of the grain. The grain grew in a very calm environment. It was far away from population. It never heard a sound of the rooster. And not the hua of the port. If you get used to eat this type of bread, you have to eat it every day. That's why many says Chacham scholars didn't eat this. You cannot get such a bread all the time. So it was according to the Mordechai, it was very, very special bread. And the Bach brings the halacha. According to him, he knocks off the whole this Gemara pas shacharis. We don't have to them because that was specific, talking about the specific grain that grew in a specific environment. We don't have it. Well, the whole pas shach, according to him, what, when, not shaykh today. However, his son-in-law, the Taz, son of the Bach, he says like this. If somebody doesn't pay attention to what my father-in-law wrote from the Mordechai, and he does the pas shacharis kipshuto, he eats something in the morning, he says, lo hifshit klum, he didn't lose anything. That's the lashon of the Taz. And the Mogen Avram says, ve'onu ela divrei nevius. Well, the Bach brother, the Mordechai, he says it's like some kind of prophecy. It's not dvar chochma, he says. Ubegmora lo mashma ken, from the Gemara. Then he brings the reason why Mordechai made that mistake. Him and the Eliyahu bring different Gemaras. They read some Gemara the wrong way. They came to this conclusion. Anyway, according to Mogen Avraham, according to the Taz, you Makayim pas shachris, pashtus, and your yoitze. So now there's one more thing I just want to say. If you eat your seuda, not the pas shachris, your meal, what the Gemara says, whether shoravis, chamishes, shishis. And Abai says if you had something you ate, so you could even eat it later. The Mishnah Berurah brings, it's true. You could eat even later, but better, he said, even you have some snacking before, still eat the Su'udah before Chatzos, according to the B'Siyosah, before 1 hour before Chatzos. It still has a lot of benefit to eat the meal not late. It has more benefit for the health.